Cry to Krishna. So what was the first major principle there? Yeah, not on an emotional level, maybe. Usually when we talk about emotional, it means material emotions, you know, the way we use the term. Well, the first step is heart deep, not lip deep, yes. But what's the first step when we want to develop a relationship? Yes, exactly. Acknowledge that the person is there at all. Otherwise, how can anything happen in a relationship? So the very first, point is that we mindfully turn to Krishna and feeling the appeal to him, call out to him, being mindful of his presence there. Already there, we usually fail, because we're so much in the habit of ignoring him. Actually, I think we didn't mention this. His Holiness Satchidananda Swami and Bhuijan Prabhu, they came up with this kirtan arrow, where every letter in this word arrow stands for one tool, one principle in our endeavors to develop this relationship with Krishna, with the holy name. So the A stands for alignment or attentiveness on the level of the body, mind, and heart. So we talked about that in the first session, right? So then yesterday we had the first A, meaning chanting the holy name with an awareness of a relationship, right? That was the topic. So if that's not there in our chanting, what's our chanting like? Empty medicine capsule, exactly. From outside, it looks like the real thing, but because we leave Krishna completely out of the picture, we think of so many things and so therefore empty, no medicine inside, therefore no effect on the absolute platform of my relationship with Krishna. That kind of chanting will not do anything. And as we said yesterday, it's very natural and logical and simple. A relationship can only develop if we actually mindfully turn to Krishna and feeling the appeal to him. If that's not there, nothing will happen in the relationship. But even if we just endeavor, even we may not be so good at it, but just the endeavor already means if we do this every day for 2.5 hours or whatever time it takes to chant our rounds, so sooner or later something will happen in that relationship. It will become tangible reality. Yes. So that was the topic yesterday. And the empty capsule is also there in Kirtan, of course, right? Then it's just nice music if we don't actually connect and so on. So today, because we have to kind of already conclude the whole thing. So today we will briefly touch upon the second R in the Kirtan arrow, standing for chanting the holy name in the mood of rendering service. Yes. So now simply the relationship is becoming a little more defined, that it's not just any relationship, but the relationship of rendering service, chanting in the mood of service. So again, that's in japa as well as in kirtan. So let's first have a little look at japa, and I'm really condensing here. Usually I spend 3 hours on this, so I'm just really summarizing. And yeah, so chanting japa in the mood of service, meaning that we chant longing to serve, right? That we chant longing to serve. Please, Krishna, let me serve you and your devotees. All I want to do is serve, serve, serve. Yes. So that's one aspect there, chanting japa in the mood of longing to serve. And as I mentioned yesterday, Bhaktisiddhanta is saying, making the statement that chanting without longing to serve is useless. Yes. Yes. So, but then there's also that aspect there that we chant japa longing to in the service mood, meaning pure service mood means I don't expect anything in return. You know, I mentioned, or we talked yesterday very briefly, that the only purpose of chanting is to reconnect and develop this relationship. So there is no other reason why we should chant. There should not be any other reason, you know, that we don't expect, peace of mind, that's why I'm chanting. I feel so much better then, you know, or yes, then hopefully Krishna will be merciful with me and everything goes smooth in my life, or maybe he'll give me some good health or whatever. So no, that's not service mood actually, right? Prahlad Maharaj says this, you know, when Nrsimhadev offers him a benediction, he said, I don't want anything in return for service. You know, if I accept anything in return, then I'm not servant, I'm merchant, I'm businessman. You know, we try and make a business deal with Krishna. Okay, I chant your holy name and you give me this and this. So that is not servant, at least not pure servant. So pure servant means unconditional, without any expectations. You know? Yeah, so that's also included in that meaning of chanting japa in the mood of service, you know, that we don't want anything in return, you know. So these things are rather subtle, you know. We come across this even in things like during Kartik time, we offer the ghee lamp, right? The little light. So and sometimes we see people offering 5, you know, one for the husband who can't come and one for my mother and this and that and this and that. But this is again this fruitive mentality, you know, because why do we offer that lamp? To do something little extra for my relationship with Krishna. So sorry, that everybody themselves have to do. You know, we can't do that for somebody else. Or we ask, oh, can you do this for me tonight? You know, this is a very ritualistic and fruitive mentality that we think, all right, I offer the light for my husband, and then I'm transferring the benefit for him to him. No. The point is bhakti, you know, we want to develop some bhakti in the heart, and that we can't transfer to somebody else or something. So sometimes we have a similar attitude there in our chanting, you know, that we try and transfer the benefit of our chanting to somebody else. No. We can pray for somebody else, no problem, you know, but thinking the chanting gives me some benefit, which I then transfer to somebody else. This is, in any case, it's not pure level, you know. So all right, for beginners, let them do. Okay, no harm, at least they're chanting some extra rounds or something. But eventually, you know, we should get there that we understand, no, This is not what chanting is meant to be, that there's some pious benefit which we then can give to somebody else. Something. But yeah, these things sneak in, because we are pretty fruitive. Like in India, they worship the demigods to get this and that benefit. So we may be proud of ourselves, or we don't have that tendency, But no, we do have that too, that we have this fruitive mentality and we want something in return and so on, Yes. Yes, so basically we can say in chanting japa in the mood of service, there's these two aspects, that we fill our chanting with longing to serve. And at the same time, serving means we don't expect anything in return. These two main points are there. So now interesting, and again, very logical and simple. If we actually chant every day, longing to serve, then sooner or later the day comes where we get the point. I'm servant. Right? Has to be. Eventually that day will come. So chanting, longing to serve, actually scrubs the heart from all these upadis, meaning false ego connects with the morning sessions. Usually if I give the whole false ego seminar for 9 or 10 hours, I usually end up with a chanting, longing to serve. That frees the heart from this, all these designations of one thinking we are the enjoyer and controller and this and that, So, but if we chant longing to serve, that will free the heart from that. It's like, here in Europe, what do you use in the bathroom? Domestos or something. In India, they use harpic. So it's the harpic for the heart, or the domestos, scrubbing the heart, from all these deep-rooted upadis and designations, and that establishes us in servant, in dasya. So that's why Bhaktisiddhanta says, chanting without longing to serve is useless, because it's useless again on the absolute platform, because it will not establish us in dasya. Right? Yes, makes sense. So now another interesting thing is that we may think, well, how will we actually find out what relationship we have with the Lord? Do we wonder this sometimes? Yes. Yeah, we should. We should. So, very simple. Actually, through the chanting, it will eventually be revealed. We don't have to do anything else. Our only business is crying out to Krishna, longing to serve. And once we are more established in dasya, and all the enjoying and controlling propensities have been cleared away, so then Krishna can reveal if there's anything more than dasya, right? But dasya is the foundation. Dasya is there in all the relationships. Like Sakya, friendship, is dasya plus Sakya. So friendship, a good friend is also a servant plus a friend. And then Vatsalya is dasya plus Sakya plus Vatsalya. So parental affection also has the servitude in it and also the friendship. And then Madhurya, conjugal, is dasya plus Sakya plus Vatsalya plus Madhurya. So therefore, Dasya is the foundation to all of them. And then once we are more established in Dasya, then Krishna will eventually reveal. Yeah, so we don't have to worry about anything else except really crying out, longing to serve. Yes, and we can imagine, and this is one reason why Prabhupada says we should not prematurely try and see Radha Krishna and remember pastimes and all this, because let us imagine if a person is not firmly established in Dasya, but still has some tendencies to control, enjoy, and. So, what will his mind say when he sees Radha Krishna? What will the mind say? The not completely purified mind. Why not me? Yes. Well, maybe not equal. Well, let's first have a look at how do you see them if we are not pure. No, but if we try to artificially, remember, so then the mind says, yes, the mind says, oh, Radha and Krishna, they have such a lovely, wonderful time together. I also want to be there and have a nice time with them. So that's the enjoying spirit, right? Yes. So that's why we should be very cautious, not to jump higher than we can there, because then very easily we become sahajas. Actually, Prabhupada was saying, in our conditioned stage, we are not even worshipping Radha Krishna, we are worshipping Lakshmi Narayan, because it's in awe and reverence. Radha Krishna means, there is this intimacy there that we forget that Krishna is God. No, we are not there. We actually worship Radha Krishna in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan with awe and reverence and rules and regulations and so on. Yeah, and otherwise, if we're not clear on that, we easily become sahajas. I remember many years ago, there was some lady in one of the temples there, and she was saying, I've been kissing with Krishna last night. Okay. Well, maybe she needs a husband, So, yeah, so these are the dangers, These are the dangers, yes. Yeah, or maybe not that gross, but, well, in Russian language, oh, Krishnachka, you can probably understand Krishnachka, some, yeah, I don't know how to say some, some kids' language, Krishnachka. So some cute little form of Krishna, or cute little Krishna, it's not the right mood, not the right mood. So, yeah, it may not be that gross that we say we've been kissing with Krishna last night, but maybe it is more subtle that we engage in all kinds of talks there with the deities and, oh, my dear little Krishna, how are you? And are you hungry? And all this. So this, this would also be a little inappropriate, Yes. Yeah. So we actually worship in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan with all reverence and all that, Yeah. So in any case, let's go back to the topic. So once we are established in Dasya, Krishna will reveal. So, and if we still have some tendencies to enjoy control, if we think of Radha Krishna, then very easily that enjoying spirit enters. Oh, I also want to have a nice time with them. that's more harmless as the other versions there, but it's still inappropriate. And this may even be our desire why we want to go back to Godhead, just to have a nice time there with Krishna or something. It's all pretty subtle, So, but now let us imagine a person who is firmly established in Dasya. If they remember Radha Krishna, so what will the mind say? The mind of that person. Hmm? Yes, that, the mind says, Radharani, she knows the best how to serve Krishna. She knows all the secrets. She knows how to sacrifice her very life just to please him. I want to learn from her, because she is actually our guru, she has to recommend us to Krishna. There's this nice statement somewhere that if Radharani recommends us to Krishna, saying, oh, this person is a nice devotee, then Krishna will accept us, no matter how foolish we may be. So that gives some hope, No matter how foolish we may be, if Radharani recommends us, then Krishna will accept us, Yeah, so she knows all the secrets and so yeah, if our mind is actually purified and we are really established in Dasya, then we don't think of wanting to have a nice time with them. But now we simply want to learn from Radharani how she sacrifices herself, and we just want to be a tiny little assistant of assistant of assistant in her whole, army of gopis and sakhis and in all these different groups and so yeah, that's then the desire. So in other words, once again, we have to simply long to serve, cry out longing to serve, and then eventually everything else will come from there. Actually, there is a nice quote which is not emphasizing the serving, but the crying out. Yes, because sometimes devotees say, so why didn't Prabhupada talk about all these things? But actually he did. It just took us quite a while to understand. So there is in a lecture in 1969, so that's pretty early, the Prabhupada says, so we are addressing Hare Krishna, O energy of the Lord, O Lord, please accept me. That's all. Please accept me. We have no other prayer. Please accept me. Lord Chaitanya taught that we should simply cry and we shall simply pray for accepting us. That's all. So this vibration is simply a cry for addressing the Supreme Lord, requesting him, please accept me, please accept me. So it's all there. Yes. Also, let us remember that Hare stands for Radharani, right? So actually the Maha Mantra is all, imbued with Radharani's energy. It's all there. So by chanting Hare Krishna, longing to serve, that's how we tap into Radharani's energy also, because she is most expert in serving. And Hare is her energy, So it's also nice to remember, especially on festivals like Radhastami, we chant just Radhe, Radhe, Radhe and all this, But yeah, Prabhupada was not so fond of it because, again, one very easily gets into a bit of a Sahajiya mood there, But actually everything is in the Maha Mantra. If we just chant the Maha Mantra, longing to serve, Radharani is not so cheaply accessible that just by chanting Radhe, 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 we get her mercy or something. No, sorry. Yes. So, but by chanting Hare Krishna, longing to serve, that's how we get her mercy. Yes. Yes. So now maybe we have a look at Kirtan, chanting in Kirtan with a mood of service, what that means. So, yeah, it means simply that we don't enter Kirtan in the enjoying mood, but in the mood of service. Serving whom? Yes. So, yeah, Krishna in form of his holy name, Sri Harinam Prabhu. Yeah, so that means, first of all, that we should not lead the kirtan trying to show off what we discussed this morning, but really in the mood of serving, servant. Yes. And we have this nice story in the Bhagavatam with Narada Muni. In a previous life, he was the Gandharva Upabarana. And there was this Kirtan Mela in the upper planetary systems there. So Kirtan Melas is nothing new. They have always existed, only in ISKCON they're relatively new. So, and, so many sadhus and great sages and also heavenly damsels came to this Kirtan Mela. And Upabarana was very handsome and had a beautiful voice. So that's already a dangerous combination, being handsome and having a beautiful voice. So, and what did Upabarana do? He was showing off in front of the heavenly damsels, bringing attention to himself, singing some melodies, to show off. And I can't quite remember, maybe, somebody didn't like it and he was cursed, maybe Lord Brahma or somebody. So, and he was cursed, one life without opulence. So that's how it happened that he took birth as a son of a maidservant, which is no opulence, right? So, but then immediately when he was cursed, he was lamenting and then as Narada Muni, he was also chanting, longing for Krishna and so on. And then after that birth, he was reestablished in his original position there. Yes, so, but anyway, that should be a warning to us, that when we sing in Kirtan, showing off, trying to glorify ourselves instead of the Lord, yeah, well, we may not get cursed, but it contaminates the Kirtan actually. Yeah, it does. And not only the singer, instrument players too. When we have a Madanga player or a kata player who wants to show off and bring attention to himself. Well, consciousness floods the whole body, comes out through every pore of the skin. Every movement is executed through consciousness. So if we play Madanga with a mood of wanting to be noticed, so then the Madanga playing is almost a touch too loud and if you're a little perceptive, yeah, it's rather disturbing, You can feel that energy that somebody wants to bring attention to himself. And it contaminates really the whole kirtan arena. Same with the cartels and so on, So everyone has to be in the mood of servant who enters the kirtan. So it's a highly transcendental affair. And yeah, sometimes in holy name retreats, I have that experience, you know, in the first evening kirtan, you know, there's sometimes some people there who want to show off and, oh, now holy name retreat, now I get, you know, some audience here where I can sing. And the same with the instrument players. And yeah, and then as the retreat goes on, the whole atmosphere changes actually, and people get some realizations and so on and so on, you know. And often also in the kirtan, the holy name is almost drowned in the instruments, you know, the wampus, and you know. So, but then gradually people get the point, okay, I meant to serve the Mahamantra. That's how I meant to play the kartals, the mridanga, you know, not to bring attention to myself, you know. Yeah, so you can see some transformation happening there over 3 days. Yes. Dancing also, you know, any kind of showing off is contaminating. Yes, dancing. The men have their way of showing off, the women have their way of showing off. So any kind of showing off, yeah, contaminates. As we were saying this morning, you know, Prabhupada said even an ass enjoys his own sound vibration. So, yeah, this ass-like conditioning is there. Sometimes even clapping is considered an instrument actually in kirtan, you know. And very often we find people, oh, they clap so loud. Look at this, how loud I can clap. Have you ever experienced that? That people clapping so loud? Oh, you know, when you're little perceptive, it's very irritating, you know. Especially if they clap off beat then or something, you know, then it gets even worse. But yeah, so like that, this ass tries to poke up his head there and make his ee. My noise is so beautiful, I have to be heard, you know, either in this way or that way. Or even sometimes doing premanandi prayers, you know, Jai Vishnupad, there's often somebody, die, 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 screams so loud, you know. Oh, here's my chance to be heard. Die! Yeah, so all these things are going on. So yeah, it's good to be mindful of this, you know. Yes. Yes. So now the poisonous medicine capsule we were announcing yesterday. So we said empty capsule, right? We are not connecting. And because the empty capsule is not satisfying to the heart, right? Then very easily we think, oh, where's the bliss? Where's the bliss? So, and then easily the poison enters. So what's the poison? Anybody can guess? Not so difficult. Yeah, the poison is simply when we use the holy name to show off. Right? Upabhana. To bring attention to ourselves and showing off in front of the heavenly damsels or the heroic sadhus or whatever, saintly sadhus. Yeah, so that showing off tendency, that's the poison, you know? Yes. And in japa, it's also there, right? Poisonous capsule in japa. On the holy name retreats, I usually divide the audience in groups and let them perform role plays. Empty capsule, poisonous capsule in japa and kirtan. Yeah, it's quite funny and sometimes quite some deep and sweet things come about, you know. Yes. So what's the poisonous capsule in japa? Yes, yes. How advanced I'm. Oh, Ekadashi, 64 rounds, of course. Here, picture on Facebook, me chanting 64 rounds with the Radha Kuntilak and the chatter like this. And yes, yes. Exactly. Showing off how advanced we are. So using the holy name in that way, maybe not even striving, to actually connect with Krishna and getting on deeper levels of chanting, but simply using the process of chanting to to pretend that we are so advanced and to bring attention to ourselves. Yes. I can't remember whether I told this funny little story with Prabhupada when he was in Mayapur. Yadubar Prabhu tells it. I'm sure you know Yadubar Prabhu, right? Yeah, so he told me personally how he was in Prabhupada's room during Mayapur festival, and there was one of these wampa stomper kirtans going on in the temple room, really loud, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Rama, with the wampus and full on. So, and then when it came to an end, Prabhupada turned to Yadubar Prabhu and said, "Good, he has finished." That's all he said. Good, he has finished. Yeah, so, I mean, of course, Prabhupada could not give everything in these short few years. Have you seen the book, Prabhupada's Kirtan Standards by Jayadvaita Swami? It just came out recently. Yes. I highly recommend to get a copy. You've got the book? Huh? Okay. Good. Yeah, it's a nice book. I got a copy on Mayapur and read it and gave it away in South Africa because I can't carry these books around with me. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting things in it. Yes, yes. So we have to make an effort to really keep kirtan as it is, and because so easily, all kinds of things are sneaking in, and usually they sneak in when we don't connect. Then they sneak in because we feel, oh, we have to make kirtan more interesting, and maybe people get bored and something new. Yes, yes. So. Yeah, I mean, in the Kirtan standard books, it even says, even though some people do, and when we don't want to offend them, but even this one more time from the heart and all these kind of things. Yeah, we are not really meant to do these things, actually, adding things. Even the Bengali, bolo, Hare Krishna, these things to insert. Oh, Prabhupada was furious. I mean, Jayadvaita Swami gives so many episodes and stories where Prabhupada sent somebody down to the temple room and told him to stop immediately the kirtan just because he put a bolo in the other. Yes, just to really keep the Maha Mantra as it is, because 50 years down the road, then people think it's Bolo Hare Krishna. They add something to the Maha Mantra and the whole thing gets watered down and changed. So Prabhupada was very, very strict in these things. Yes. And even things like, yeah, I mean, there's some things that are kind of borderline, but also when we chant too often the name of the deities, and then this deity and that deity and another deity and so on, yeah, Prabhupada wasn't doing it, yes. So there's quite a few things which we pretty commonly do, but which actually should maybe better not done. And definitely these things of Radhe, Radhe, Sham, Sham. Or now the men, now the women. Yeah. Chanting and kirtan's got nothing to do with the body you have or something. So, yeah, these are all little things that creep in just to try and make things more interesting, you know? And yeah, and it happens when we don't connect. Then we get bored and we feel we have to invent something new, you know? Yeah. All right, so I do have a few more things to talk about, but maybe we'll quickly see if there's any questions just about poisonous capsule. Yes, Prabhu.
Rated I am and something like that, and Ekadashi chanting 64 rounds, see how high soul I am. So, in your opinion, like which is better, chanting 64 rounds in such mood or chanting 16 rounds sincerely?
You know, best is to chant 64 rounds and not even tell anybody, you know. I mean, there's even this statement in regards to vows like Kartik Vrata. If you tell others about it, you lose the benefit. Why? Because of the showing off mentality. You know? Yes. So it's not either this or that, but well, let's stop showing off, you know, and secretly chant as much as we can, but without announcing it. And, you know, I mean, yeah, it goes so far that even, you know, sometimes devotees like to tell their dreams and their transcendental experiences. We should actually keep these things private because let's be honest, why do we want to tell them? So that others think, wow, you must be really advanced. You know? Yes, yes. And I had people who say, oh, I don't tell everybody, I just tell you, Mataji. Okay, so that I think, oh, you must be really advanced. You know? So, yes. So all these things are so subtle, you know, and in the name of, well, I'm just sharing with my friend what's wrong with that, what I was dreaming and so on, you know, but, you know, very easily the showing off mood creeps in. Yes.
You were mentioning that we should be approaching Radha Krishna in the mood of Lakshmi Narayan. Prabhupada said that's the best thing to do. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said after 15 years of steady service, then you should be looking at Arta Praviti, not Anata Nivriti. So the mistake of Niyamagraha is to become lazy and not take the next step. And because Radha Bhav and Manjari Bhav got kind of stigmatized in Prabhupada's time with the Gopi Bhava Club, then there's a big paranoia now. Oh no, just Lakshmi Narayan, don't even. But after 15, 20 years service, if you're not, then that's also a problem. That also becomes an anata.
After 15, 20 years of service, if you are?
If you are reticent to take a step forward and look more at Arta Praviti, rather than just, because the problem in ISKCON sometimes I think with devotees is they get locked in Anata Nivriti, and they're like almost paranoid about Radha and Krishna. Oh, just Lakshmi Narayan, don't even go there. Don't say Radha.
No. I mean, that's why Prabhupada's one of the first books was Krishna book, you know? And he did install Radha Krishna deities everywhere, you know? So no, we don't get paranoid, but we qualify ourselves, you know, by chanting the Maha Mantra, longing to serve. That's how we qualify ourselves. And not just, you know, not getting on deeper levels of chanting, but then because nothing is happening actually, then kind of artificially trying to, enter that realm. That's the problem, isn't it?
It just seems that is applicable to devotees that have just been around for a few years, but it's not applicable for devotees that have been practicing for longer, because it's
Depends how they change, Prabhu. If they've been taking empty capsules for 30 years, then they're still there. It's not a question of years.
well, certainly logging to serve is a precursor, but it's not the end. It's the beginning of something, isn't it?
Yes, but often people haven't made that beginning yet after 40 years of practice. That's the whole problem. So in any case, it is an internal thing which comes when we are ready. And no need to force it, We will be naturally attracted to read different pastimes and different scriptures or something. But the path is deepening our relationship through the chanting. That's where it's at. And I just am looking at the watch, and we have only half an hour. And I do want to do 2 nice exercises. And I think we just can't spend too much time with more questions, I'm afraid. No more questions. Yeah, because we have only half an hour. So, I'm sorry. So I want to do a little exercise with you, that we write a letter to Sri Harinam Prabhu. So we may be wondering, how is that going to work? Sri Harinam Prabhu, who is that? Writing a letter to somebody I've never met. Well, Bhagavatam is full of homages, of expressions of, glorifications, gratitude, this, that, so many things, Even Vyasa Puja, homage to Prabhupada or something, we glorify, we express how we want to rededicate ourselves. And so in the same way, we can write a letter to Krishna in the form of his holy name. That's Sri Harinam Prabhu. So try, get a pen and paper or write a text message on your phone. Just start, and I give you a few minutes, and no need to worry that you have to read it out. We don't want to invite the false ego to be part of the exercise, because as soon as I would ask you to read it out, then everybody would think, oh, I have to write something really special and impressive. And so it's just an exercise between you and Sri Harinam Prabhu. Okay, Goura premanandi. So if you're not ready, then you can always finish it at home for yourself. But it's simply a nice little exercise, which helps us to actually develop a relationship. That's why we are meant to also write Vyasa Puja homage to Prabhupada every year, That immensely helps us to establish actually a relationship by at least once a year sitting down and reflecting on Prabhupada's qualities and expressing our gratitude and rededicating ourselves to sacrificing our life for his mission. And yes. If you allow me, maybe we can just go 5 or 10 minutes into the Goura and you start the kirtan a little later. Is that all right? Because I do want to quickly go back to your question this morning when you were asking, what to do when there is some kind of a poisonous kirtan going on, right? And because it's a very common question, if let's imagine we are in a kirtan and we can feel he's showing off or she, and poisonous capsule. So what to do? Actually, the principles are very similar in generally, in general terms of discriminating who we want to associate, right? We have to discriminate. And we have to choose who we want to associate and maybe who we rather keep a little distant. So there's always devotees who are more uplifting in their association or who may, talk about mundane things, criticism, this, that, but afterwards we don't feel so uplifted. So obviously we have to choose. But especially, even when we choose, we do this quietly for ourselves. We don't have a whole discussion. Oh, I'm not going to sit next to that person at prasadam time and all that. No need. We just quietly choose who we want to be closer connected to and who not, maybe. But we still remain respect and so on. And especially in kirtan, but even also in association also, we make it our problem that we are not pure enough to not get affected by, maybe by mundane elements of that association or kirtan or whatever. So we make it our problem, which in fact it is, because if we were a pure devotee, then maybe our presence would make a difference in the kirtan, right? Because that's how it works. Consciousness is such a powerful energy. Let's imagine we would have a Maharaj here, even if he would just sit in the corner and not say anything, simply his presence would make a difference. That's the power of consciousness. So, going back to kirtan, if we were a pure devotee, then maybe our presence would counteract that contamination and we would not get disturbed or affected by it. Same principle is there in book distribution too. When we go out and distribute books, we have to be strong enough to give our association rather than taking their association, right? So same thing is there also in any form of associating, and even in kirtan also. But if we get so disturbed, that the mind starts committing offenses, criticizing, this is, poisonous capsule and. So then maybe better to leave, not much point to attend such a kirtan because our mind will simply be criticizing and will be disturbed. But then also, we can't get too paranoid, you know? Otherwise, there may just be no kirtan we can join or something, because it's all not the real thing, and you know. So we have to start somewhere, and we also have to set the example that kirtan should be attended, right? So yeah, it's kind of, we have to see. And I have in the past asked some senior devotees how they deal with these situations. And one devotee was saying, well, I just try and build a bubble around myself where I'm chanting, you know, and try to protect me in this way from the outside energies there. But obviously for that, we have to be a little more mature spiritually and have the strength to build a bubble around ourselves and be in our own little world there chanting, you know, without getting too affected, you know. Yes. Any further question or comment about that? Yes, Guru. Yeah, well, as I just tried to explain, it depends a little bit on our spiritual strength, how much it affects us, you know, because you can say the same thing in any kind of more mundane association. If you walk down the road, the street in summer, and the ladies are not properly dressed, so if you're spiritually strong, it will not really affect you so much. But if you're not so strong, it may affect you. So same thing there with the kirtan also, depending on our spiritual strength, you know. But as I said, if it starts disturbing us, then better not to attend that kirtan, you know. Or in which way? Well, that we catch the same disease, you know. So, as we say, consciousness travels on the sound vibration. So, if that consciousness of showing off travels on the sound vibration, that will contaminate the heart. That's the effect it has. It will contaminate the heart, and it may even, you know, ignite the same tendency in our heart, because we are not completely free of this tendency of wanting to show off and bring attention to ourselves. So if we have that kind of association, it rubs off. And then we feel also, oh yeah, well, I could actually do it much better. And maybe I should have a go now, and, you know, like that. So it brings that tendency out in us, contaminates. Yeah. Okay, so let us move on to one question which came up yesterday. What about Guru and Prabhupada? Right? So let us understand, yes, we've been talking quite a bit how we should chant with a mood of service, crying out. So with a certain seva bhav, we are meant to chant with that feeling in the heart. So what to do if we don't have it? It's all very nice to hear about it, but, well, where do we get it from? So we get it from a person who carries it in his heart, because the sitting place of any kind of attachment is the heart. So we don't get attachment from the object itself, but from a person who carries it in his heart. That is in the good as well as in the bad. So that's why it is said that associating with a person who always talks about lusty affairs, that is more contaminating than associating with the object, with the other gender. And in the same way, associating with a person who has attachment for the holy name, for Bhagavatam, and so that's where we capture it. So that's why we need Guru, Even attachment to Prabhupada, we capture from a person who carries it in his heart. And then once we have it, then we can pass it on to somebody else. But that's why this association with a pure devotee is so essential, because we capture what they carry in their heart. Yeah. So in other words, in order to get this seva bhav, we have to become an expert beggar at the lotus feet of Guru, Sadhu, Prabhupada, and beg to just capture one drop of what they carry in their heart, how they chant, how they sacrifice themselves, how they serve, how they're so humble and tolerant, and. Yes. So I wanted to do that as a last japa exercise with you, that we try this just for one round, that we don't appeal directly to Krishna. And we can do this without beads, Prabhu. You see, running off to get his beads, or going to the toilet, or what is so urgent. But now he can't hear what the exercise is. He's running off. Anyway, what to do? So whoever doesn't have the beads with them, no problem. Just chant without beads. No problem. No problem. So let us chant one round, turning towards our favorite guru or sadhu, or it can be also Prabhupada, especially after a while of practicing Krishna consciousness. Hopefully we are connected to Prabhupada. And we can, appeal to Prabhupada to just give us one drop of what they carry in their heart, how they chant, how they serve. Okay? That's fine. Goura, 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 Goura. Goura. Okay, Goura Premanandi. So, how did you go? Easier than yesterday. Yeah, that's usually what people say. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, Prabhupada, Guru, favorite sadhu, they are a little more tangibly available than Krishna. Krishna is a little remote from us. So, and I guess that's why we need them, right? And I dare say, I mean, it's maybe a little bit of my speculation, but just the, that process of Guru chanting on the bead and then giving us the bead, this is like a symbolic, transfer of this mood, how we are meant to chant, right? Otherwise, why else would he do that? Because we've been chanting already before for quite a few years, and we've got beads and all that. So why do we buy a new set of beads and ask Guru to chant on them? Because again, obviously, when he chants on the bead, consciousness comes out through every pore of the skin. So it does go in whatever one, touches while they chant and so on, So, and then we hope that this mood, how he chants, will be in the beads, and that will help us, But yeah, let's be clear, it's more like a symbolic thing. It's not that cheap to capture the mood of Guru, how he chants, right? Just by having him chant on the beats and then, oh, I got it. No, unfortunately, it's not that easy, But yeah, through longing, to capture that mood, we hopefully can get that, And especially also in Guru's or Sadhu's presence, when he speaks, when he sings, if we enter kirtan or katha in that mood, that we long to capture something, what he carries in his heart, then we refresh that coloring of our heart by dipping our heart in the color which his heart is colored in, But yeah, we can imagine. All right. Well, I guess that's all I wanted to share today. So even though there's so many more things to share, but our time is limited. Do we have any final concluding question or anything? Yes, please.
Very helpful in practical application of devotional service, understanding the false ego. I'm sure in your classes you mentioned on the real ego as well. Would you kindly share what is our real ego and how can I make it my constant companion?
Well, I think I did mention in the beginning, if there's a false ego, there has to be a real ego. So the real ego is Jiva Srupa Krishna Nityadas. So that's our true identity, being servant, eternal servant, Dasya. That's the true identity, So, and how we do it, I think we talked quite a fair bit over the last 3 days about this, So first we have to identify it, and then we mentioned these 5 steps, of hearing, desiring, being introspective and honest, catching ourselves doing the wrong thing, crying out to Krishna. We talked about that, didn't we? Yes. Yeah. So, and then following the Vaishnava etiquette, don't protect and defend the false ego. Huh? We talked about it yesterday morning. How we are always defending, answering back, finding excuses. No, we don't do defend and protect it. And today we talked about don't boost it and feed it. And then concluding, chanting, longing to serve. That establishes us in our real position of being servant. That scrubs the heart from all the parties and everything. Right? And if you want to know more, then read the book. And there is a whole chapter on chanting. There's more than what we discussed in these 3 days. That will continue. Okay, this whole chapter quite challenging because it is connecting with dissolving the problem. Okay, anything else? Who I was stopping before to ask the question. And here's the very last thing. You were stopping. So it was a burning question, huh?
No, it's okay.
He asked it. Yes. Okay, good. So now, concluding personal exercise. Turn to your neighbor and share. What did this all 3 sessions on false ego and the holy name gave you? What did it do to you? What are you taking out? Hopefully something. Share. Yeah, you cannot keep it, and you could help him to make sure that really everybody gets to say what it is for. The right person would be very bad. People don't just a book. So I will put this in your letterbox. Do you have a letterbox like this? You can do it. in the door. Okay. Before it's and on the floor. Okay. What do you like? How is it? Okay, Goura premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Yes. So, since I'm leaving tomorrow morning, I want to take the opportunity to thank you so much for your eagerness to associate and for receiving me. And it was very nice to visit you, and I had a nice time. So yeah, thank you very much. And I hope to see you sometime somewhere. I won't come up tomorrow morning because 5:30 I have to leave to the airport, so I will stay down there and pack everything up and get ready and all that. And if I have a free minute, I'd rather chant a couple of rounds so I don't have to all chant them there in public while I'm traveling, because I would travel the whole day. I will only get to Simhachalam around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening. All right, so I wish you all the very best. So, of course, now comes the challenge of applying things, you know? So it wouldn't be so effective if we say, oh yeah, it was all very interesting and nice, and then we go back to our old ways, you know? But no, everybody has to do that work themselves, or seeing, you know, which bad habits can we kick out. No more chanting while doing this, that, the other thing. And yeah, and really applying, you know, what we have all discussed. Yes. For the words of Vaishnava etiquette, not defending, not answering back, not showing off. And okay, thank you so much, and all the very best to you and to your nice community, and stick with it and keep going. And I hope to see you maybe in Mayapur sometime. That would be nice. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki. I'm a bit of a Goura premanandi.
Hari Bol. Our Grace Devaki Devi Dasi ki.